daddy bears, all making porridge. Industrial units behind them, and really, as far as Goldilocks is concerned, that's not very appealing. So she picks up the next brochure. That's much more promising. There's a picture out front of Mammy. She's stirring the porridge. God, Goldilocks can almost taste that porridge. She looks for information. Where's she going to find the porridge? No information. So she puts it down and picks up the last brochure. And that's Baby Bear's brochure. When babies are approached, there's a picture of baby enjoying the porridge. It looks very tasty. Pictures of the ingredients of in the porridge. And Goldilocks can almost taste it. It's so good. And then she looks at the bottom and it says, have a look on the kitchen table. And sure enough, she looks on the kitchen table and there are 3 bowls of porridge. And the first bowl, the big bowl, Daddy Bear's porridge, she tastes it, but it's too hot. And then she tries the second bowl, Mammy Bear's porridge. She tastes that, but that's too cold. And then she takes a taste of the last bowl, the baby bowl, and that's just right. So you may wonder what you hauled yourselves out of bed for and into a seminar to hear about fairy stories, what they've got to do with branding and business. Well, it's because in our experience at Islandbridge brand development, what we found is that customers aren't looking for the hottest or the coolest or the first or the fastest or the fittest or the most technologically advanced. What they're looking for is something that's just right. Like Goldilocks, they're looking for something that's just right. So over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm just going to give you an introduction to how we see the business of branding as being the business of getting things just right for your customers. Can we do that? There we go. So just a quick intro on how a brand works, because this whole section of the morning is about kind of branding, design, and business development using those tools. So our take at Islandbridge on how a brand works. In our experience, success in business is down to the ability to influence choice. So I just want you to think about that for a moment. In our experience, and in your experience too, I'm sure, success in business is down to your ability to influence choice. So what's that suggesting is something really important, is that what it's not saying is that success in business is down to being the best at what you do. It's not saying that success in business is down to being the most technologically advanced, having the best materials, working hardest. In fact, what the market tells us is that the market often doesn't reward those things. We think it does, but it doesn't. The market rewards those businesses which influence choice, which prompt customers to buy effectively. So what that means is that I don't know, and we don't really have time this morning to delve into what business each of you is in, but what I do know for certain is that you're really, all of us here, in the business of influencing choice. This is about influencing choice. And when we consider our brand, we should be considering it in that light. And the purpose of a brand, therefore, if it's concerned with choice, is to make you the natural choice of your customers. Now I've highlighted the idea of natural choice, because that's really important. Again, I just invite you to think for a moment, what would it mean in your business if you were the natural choice of your customers? In the same way as that for certain customers, Coca-Cola is their natural choice. They don't check to see if Pepsi-Cola is on the shelves, do they? As far as they're concerned, they only have eyes for one cola if they're favouring that brand. Similarly, car drivers won't be checking to see, will I get an Audi or will I get a BMW? They've often made that choice, because for them it's a natural choice. You just have to go and visit any one of the Evocas, where you'll spend about twice as much on a coffee and a scone as you will in Insomnia, for example, where they champion the 350 package. So you're paying almost twice as much, about €7, right, in an Evoca. You see a lot of happy people. Maybe you or I might be happy to pay €7, but there's a lot of people very happy to pay that €7. And as far as they're concerned, Evoca is the natural choice. It's the place for them to get their tea and their coffee and their scones and their salads, because as far as they're concerned, Evoca is the natural choice. So I just again invite you to think briefly, what would it mean in your business if you were the natural choice of your customers? Think of all of the benefits there would be to you and your business. Quick show of hands, who participates in the weekly shop, the big household shop in the family, right? Andrew, how long does a weekly shop typically take?
Depends how I go, really.
Okay. Typically?
45 minutes.
45 minutes, yeah? Would that be some a little longer, a little shorter? Imagine for a moment how long the weekly shop would take if you had to interrogate every single choice that there was available to you on the shelves. All day, right? Probably a week. You probably just have completed your weekly shop. You push the trolley out to the waiting partner and children, and turn around wearily. Maybe you have time for a quick sandwich, and you'd head back in and you'd start your weekly shop. Because there are 30 to 40,000 choices in most supermarkets. So when we look at it from a consumer's point of view, from a customer's point of view, the person pushing the trolley, what do you think the purpose of a brand might be? Drawing attention, but critically in terms of what's the difference between spending a week shopping and spending 45 minutes shopping. Brands will typically help customers to make a choice. And by and large, most of the choices you make, which are brand-led, you're happy with. Just as the Avoca customer is happy to spend €7, and the BMW driver is happy to spend the tens of thousands that it costs to buy a BMW. Most of the choices, and I'm not suggesting that in your trolley there may not be a couple of choices that you regret or that you have doubts about, but by and large, customers are using brands to help them to make the choice. So that suggests to me a purpose to a brand which is secondary. It's about helping customers choose what's just right for them. So we tend to talk about brands in the media in particular as though they're things that, something that's done to people. Brands are imposed on. They're manipulative, they're persuasive. But we suggest at Islandbridge that there's a much healthier and a much more productive definition of a brand. And what we suggest is that a brand works by influencing choice, by standing for the relationship between the buyer and the seller. So what a great brand does is that it represents the interests of both the buyer and the seller. Because there's no point in selling to a buyer at your own expense, is there? Businesses will go out of business very quickly if they're selling at their own expense, if they're benefiting the customer at their own expense. And similarly, customers will go elsewhere if they're not benefiting from their choice, right? So great brands are those that balance those interests. They're not equal interests necessarily, but they're balanced. So Avoca is able to charge €7 for coffee and a scone because the customer gets €7 worth of value and more probably by paying that. So the Avoca brand has set up that relationship and represents that relationship. Now it's important to remember that the Avoca brand isn't the relationship. Just as marriage isn't the relationship, marriage is the name that we give a relationship. How would we know if somebody's married? Quick show of hands, right, left hands, quick show of left hands.
They're miserable looking ones.
Absolutely, but there's lots of signs, but one of the key signs of that somebody's in a married relationship is a wedding ring, right? And just as the wedding ring isn't the marriage, right? Your logo, your visual identity isn't the brand. It's simply a way of pointing towards the relationship that you're going to have with the business that's selling to you, right? So when we think about brand, we should be thinking about the relationship first, and then all of the ways in which we might know that we're in a relationship with that business. Now, it doesn't have to be a long-lasting relationship like a marriage. It could be a fleeting relationship, but it's a relationship for the purposes of the two people exchanging some form of value. So I encourage you to think about your brand in that way. Second thing I want to introduce to you as quickly as I can, because I'm very conscious of time and of the speakers who are following on, is the notion of a bullseye customer. Because of course when we talk about just right, the challenge for all of us in our businesses is, how do we get it just right for everybody? You know, because everybody's a little different, right? Goldilocks might like the porridge a little cooler or a little hotter. That's just right for her. But clearly there's people in the market who want it hotter, and there are people in the market who want it cooler. So how do you get it just right in your business? How did Steve Jobs create a brand and ultimately products around that brand that feel just right? This is the same type of iPhone as millions, billions of people probably carrying around the world, right? And it feels just right to me. Probably as it does to you if Apple is the right brand for you. So how do you get that just rightness? Something we use at Islandbridge is the idea of the bullseye customer. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror replied, oh, wicked queen, Snow White, accountancy, Snow White engineering, is the fairest of them all. And the wicked queen flies into a rage. And even when we're children, we know she's ridiculous. Isn't it ridiculous to see a grown person preening themselves in the mirror and asking who's the fairest of them all? And yet as business owners, when we're building brands, a lot of the time that's what we're doing. We're saying, look how wonderful we are. Look how many years we've been in business. Look how handsome we are. Look how well qualified. Right? It's ridiculous, isn't it? So what should we do? We're facing the mirror. What should we do if we're going to be serious about relating with our customers? Simple thing. Somebody comes into your house and you're facing the mirror. What do? You turn away. What do you say? How are you? Or how can I help? Or something along those lines. It's not difficult. So the first words out of our mouths should be, how can I help? Or I understand where you're coming from, or I want to connect and relate to you. Not, let me tell you before you say a word, before you tell me what you're here for, let me tell you how wonderful we are. So why is it that people face the mirror in business and are seemingly afraid to turn around and face their customers? Because it's in our experience, socially we're very nervous about facing crowds. There's probably not too many of you, apart from the speakers who are going to follow me, who will be comfortable about the idea of addressing even a relatively small crowd like this, that much bigger crowd in the other area you're interested in. So what is it about facing a crowd that makes us reluctant to look into the eyes of our customer, right? It's because at a certain level we're not socially equipped for that. We're not socially equipped to relate to mass. Probably, if you think of yourself socially, you're probably most comfortable with 2 or 3 people, right? In a coffee shop or in a bar, etc. And after that it gets a little bit more difficult for most people. I'm not saying for everybody, but for most people. So how can we turn away from this looking into a crowd who terrify us and look into the eyes of our customer? How can we get it just right? For Goldilocks, for the owner of the iPhone, for the Evoca customer. And we would suggest at Islandbridge that what you need to be doing is you need to be creating your bullseye customer. What's the purpose of the bullseye on a target? Think back, the archer, ancient times, practicing for either the killing of game or the killing of warriors, right? What's the purpose? They set up a target at the end of their field, maybe 20, 25 meters, 100 meters, depending, right? What's the purpose of the bullseye? Practice your shot. Specifically, what does the bullseye do? Focuses your aim, right? It focuses your aim so that if you aim at the bullseye, you're much more likely to hit. What size is the target? It's the same size as that which you must hit. In other words, if you're hunting game, the target should represent the killing area on the game, on the person, whatever it may be, right? So this is your target market, and you need to be focusing at the core of it, because if you aim at the heart of the market, you're much more likely to hit your target. So typically what that means is that there's somebody at the core of your market who represents your market, who will allow you to get it just right. So that if it's just right for the person standing at the bullseye, it's going to be more likely to be right for somebody standing just beside them. Somebody who's quite like them, not exactly like them. So we would encourage all of us, all businesses, to focus on a bullseye. And who should be your bullseye? Your bullseye customer should be your ideal customer. And we would suggest that your ideal customer is the one who needs, wants, values, and is willing and able to pay for what it is you have to offer. Sounds like a simple formula, but I promise you, if you start applying that to your business, you'll start to weed out very quickly those who are your best customers, your ideal customers, and those who aren't. And then you should be focusing all of your efforts on the bullseye, on the people who are at the core of your market. Because if Evoca was wasted its time trying to persuade dads and husbands and partners that €7 was value for money, they'd waste a lot of time, wouldn't they? So they don't focus the brand on dads and brothers and partners typically. Doesn't mean we can't enjoy it, but we're not their target market. Evoca is as successful as it is because it is obsessional about its focus on its best customers rather than customers. Evoca isn't interested in their market, it's interested in its own market, in the Evoca market. And that's something that all of us can do. So I would encourage you, when you're thinking about your bullseye customers, means you're no longer selling to everybody. It gives you a starting point for the relationship. Remember I talked about branding, about the relationship between the buyer and the seller. And your bullseye customer, that focal point, gives you a starting point for that relationship. Funnily enough, although your bullseye customer is often virtual or imaginary or kind of a picture in your mind, it actually makes the relationship feel more real. It's much clearer if you're selling to David, who represents your market, than just trying to sell to everybody who's an ABC1, for example, or fits a particular demographic. And finally, it focuses your attention on the core of the market. I can't stress that last one enough. It means you're far less likely to miss the target if you're focusing your efforts on the core of your market. Just a very quick example just to finish. There was an ice cream shop in Dundrum Shopping Centre called Bandy Brooks once upon a time. They were selling homemade ice cream, doing reasonably well, but not as well as they thought they should. We identified for them a bullseye customer named Rachel, worked in an office job, was mad about clothes, played tennis and gym, and she was quite athletic. She was a college graduate, which meant she'd once upon a time taken a round the world trip as part of her kind of gap year or fit people enjoy life, or fit people enjoy all of the kind of good things that the world has to offer. Remember, she's just bought clothes, so she doesn't want to buy an American-style ice cream, which is going to make her feel fatter. She wants to buy an ice cream that's a treat, but isn't necessarily a treat that's going to spoil her good looks. So we replaced the brand of Bandy Brooks with Aussie Ice. We got them to stop selling soft drinks and typically fattening products, and their sales tripled as a result. You probably know Aussie Ice, many of you. It's great ice cream, it's the same ice cream as that we're selling under Bandy Brooks. But it's a great example of where, when you're focused on your bullseye customer, how that makes things different. Conscious of time, I'm sure all of the speakers are going to be under a bit of pressure to share stuff in 15 minutes. But on that basis, we don't have time for questions from my own section. I've been asked to kind of lightly chair this about